So first thing is, everybody had a chance to read the minutes from the last meeting that we had. We voted at the Maple Street.
I did.
Yes.
Is everybody okay with those minutes?
Yeah. Looked
Any
good to me.
changes or additions?
No.
I thought it looked all right.
Yep.
I move to approve
Have a
as
motion to
distributed.
approve? So moved.
How you doing, Charles?
And seconded?
Second.
Second.
Second. All in favor, just signify. I'll do a roll call. Fran?
Fran, yeah. Yes.
Yes. Charles?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
And Mark, yes. So the minutes are approved. And I think that, are there any other items before we open the public hearing?
No, just the minutes.
Okay. And is the petitioner and or the representative ready?
I believe so. If you're in the audience, just raise your hand and we can pull you.
They may want to wait till Dan gets here, so we can have, because otherwise we've got 4 members and it's got to be unanimous.
We do have James, right?
Huh?
James.
James is here? Okay, I didn't realize James was on. Okay. James, you're here?
I am.
Okay, so we have 4. James could sit if Dan, I just want to give Dan a few minutes. He's only a couple minutes late. So if Dan doesn't show up within 5, by 6:35, then we'll start the hearing without him. And Jim, you'll sit in as the alternate. Is that all right?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Petitioner okay with that too?
So we have 5 members that we can vote. That's a concern, because if we only had 4, I want to give them the opportunity to go forward or to continue it till we have a 5-member panel, so that they can go forward. But the petitioners are all present at this point in the audience.
Everyone who had their hand raised is in right now.
Okay, but I don't know who those are, so that's why I just wanted to make sure that there are petitioners present.
Here's another one.
So I want to just give it a few minutes for Dan to show up. If Dan isn't here by 6:35, then we'll start the public hearing. Got a couple, according to mine, we still have a couple of minutes. Are we going to be able to have, well, I don't know now with this new COVID stuff, whether we're going to be able to go back to in-person meetings or not. Have we got any direction? I know on the state now, everybody for interior meetings has to wear masks, whether you're vaccinated or not.
I haven't heard anything yet. I suspect there'll be some type of guidance coming out in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
And as far as the Zoom rooms, Jamie, have you heard any updates on that?
No, I haven't heard anything, but I do know that is something that we're looking into so that we can be both in person and online.
Okay. Yeah, that's what we're hoping, that for those who can't make it, they'd be available to do it online. But right now, we don't have any petitions, or do we have petitions coming in that we've seen?
There might be one in September.
Okay.
They haven't filed yet.
Okay. Well, it'll probably have to be done Zoom again. So just give it another minute, and if Dan doesn't show, we'll open the meeting. I think, Bethany, you'll probably have to read the public notice. Or Brian, do you have a copy of it?
I do.
Okay, then you can read it. Let's officially open up the public hearing, and I'll have Brian read the notice that was published in the paper.
All right, so this is the published on July 26th, August 2nd. East Long Meadow Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on August 9th, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. via Zoom webinar. Meeting link attached. A petition for variance under East Long Meadow zoning bylaws, section 2.04. Industrial districts Industrial Garden Park and dimensional and density regulations, table 3.2 for 20 plus minus foot relief from a 40-foot side yard setback located at 31 Benton Drive, assessor parcel ID 9-8-12 in the Industrial Garden Park zoning district. Petitioner LaPlante Construction Incorporated, Carabella LaPlante, 612 North Main Street, Suite 1, East Long Meadow. Information relating to this application is on file for public inspection at the Office of Planning and Community Development, Town Hall, 60 Center Square. And again, it was published both on July 26th and again on August 2nd.
Okay, and I just wanted to make sure that the registered mails all went out to everybody within 300 feet,
Correct.
and we got the receipts back.
Yep.
Okay, so it's properly been posted, and it's been posted as well for the open meeting. I assume 48 hours in advance as well.
Correct.
Okay, so do you know where they posted? Is it
It's
online?
in the town hall building, but also online.
Okay, so for the niceties, it meets all the procedural requirements in terms of notice. So let me explain the rules. There are 5 members. In order for the variance to be granted, you have to have a super majority, or 4 of the 5 members have to vote in favor of the hearing. We'll take the petitioner. I'd ask each person who does speak to give their name and address before they speak. And we'll have the petitioner and those supporting speak first. Anybody in opposition will then speak secondly, and then anybody who wants to rebut what the opposition brought up, that's something new that they hadn't addressed, can then rebut that. The board members at any time can ask questions, and often do, and we may or may not vote on it depending on the outcome of the materials. If we feel we have enough materials, we may vote on the matter tonight. So is anybody here for the petitioner?
I'm here, Mark. I believe that Alexandra is going to be presenting.
Okay,
Yes. So my name is Alexandra. I'm with Arlebeck Associates here tonight representing LaPlante Construction, care of Mr. William LaPlante. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that way we can all see.
but the petitioner's not, Mr. LaPlante is doing the petition on behalf of the owner, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you're actually representing the owner, technically. That's fine. I just wanted to make that clear, Andrea. That's all. And Alexandra, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Host disabled participant screen sharing. Is there a way that we can
Amy, could you let her share her screen?
Yes, 1 second.
Thank you.
Okay, you should be all set.
Perfect. So here's our site plan that we'll be discussing. I'm tonight presenting the variance petition application for the subject property located at 31 Benton Drive in East Long Meadow, Massachusetts. The property consists of approximately 1.65 acres and is designated with a parcel ID of 9-8-12 with the Town of East Long Meadow Assessors Database. The subject parcel is zoned Industrial Garden Park District according to the East Long Meadow zoning map and is recorded in the Hampden County Registry of Deeds in Book 18653 on page 307. The applicant seeks the following variance from the Town of East Long Meadow zoning bylaws. A 20-foot variance from the minimum side yard setback requirement of 40 feet is being sought as defined in the height, area, and yard requirements chart under section 3.2 for dimensional and density regulations in the Town of East Long Meadow zoning bylaws to allow for the proposed construction of a 7,344 square foot building located at the reference property. This commercial building will be utilized by Go Graphics full service provider. The building will include office and manufacturing space for Go Graphics, which is a local business, and the proposed project requires the expansion of this existing business use. This request is being sought so the business does not have to search for another area and does not have to leave their existing residence to move elsewhere. It is important to note that the section 3.57C of the Town of East Long Meadow zoning bylaws allows for a 20-foot setback in the Industrial Garden Park District in some situations. The proposed commercial building has side yard along its southern property line, and the abutting property line is an existing bit berm adjacent to a paved parking area corresponding to the existing manufacturing building for McGill Hose and Coupling. Said abutting property is owned by McGill Realty Management Company, LLC. This leaves limited usable side yard on the maintained portion of the proposed project site. Strict adherence to these dimensional requirements would severely limit the practical buildable area of the property and force the proposed commercial building to be located farther north, which would result in disturbance to the project site's parking area and result in encroachment to the existing neighboring building on the lot. The proposed commercial building will be located a minimum of 20 feet from the west side property boundary line, and proposed relief from this setback will not encroach on any abutting residences since the portion of the project site consists of grassed area, which is adjacent again to the paved parking area, so that will not develop effect of any traffic in any way. The proposed building location is a result of the design constraint to the wetland resource areas. The project site is bounded to the west by wetland resource areas with a 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands already encompassing a large portion of the proposed building. The proposed commercial building has been placed on site as far away from the wetlands resource areas as possible, while still conforming to the engineering constraints related to topography, as well as minimizing the encroachment of dimensional and density regulations to the greatest extent feasible. The request being sought is still significant enough of a buffer, and it will overall have no significant impact on the abutting parcel.
Do we have any other, anybody have any questions?
All right, I'm gonna ask a stupid question. What is a bit burn?
It's not a.
Bituminous concrete.
I'm not an engineer, so I'm not.
Bituminous concrete.
Bituminous concrete.
The blacktop berm, Charles.
Thank you.
Where is the parking for this new building?
See it right in between the two buildings. This is the existing building and this is the proposed. Right here is the parking. That is something that we discussed when we submitted our zoning determination. So existing off-street parking spaces are 6 currently. Our proposed is to change to 15. The requirement is between 14 and 15.
For both buildings?
Correct.
Go Graphics is gonna have enough parking, including?
That's all that's required.
Okay,
You know, whether practically it is enough, I don't know. I assume
Right,
that they-
right.
I don't know. How many employees do does Go Graphics have? Do we know?
The existing is about 18 and they're proposing about 20.
20 employees?
Correct.
And where do they park?
That I'm unsure of what they were planning on doing, but they're all along these lines and then over here. And of course, the one.
Right, but I mean, most of these people, I assume, drive cars, and we've got 20 employees and only 15 spaces.
So the hours,
Or is
It doesn't
that over
necessarily-
shifts, the number of shifts?
that is something that we didn't get from Bill or Jim. If they have an answer for that, I'd like to defer that to them.
Do they operate in shifts? Do you know?
That we are unaware of. We know the hours of operation are between 8 to 5. They're Monday through Friday. We know that they have deliveries throughout the day, and that the number of customers per day they have expected as 4 to 6.
I mean, from the variance point of view, I mean, we really can't address the parking, but if you've got 20 employees and only 14 spaces total, I mean, you may have some issues, but a lot of the employees may be on the road. I just don't know the operation, but if the 20 employees are working there, you don't even have enough parking on spot. I don't need zoning, but from a
Understandable.
practical point of view, you don't want anybody parking on a Benton Drive. that really isn't the subject of our.
That's
hearing.
our issue, right, right.
Yeah. So from what I understand, that basically you're trying to build outside of the 50-foot wetland buffer area. The conservation won't let you build within the 50 feet, and to keep your building out of that, it forces you to the, I guess, to the east. And you had said, I think you meant to say the southerly property. The variance is
Right.
on the southerly property. Like you said something about the westerly,
The west, right.
and I
I
think
did
it's
say
the
west.
southerly is where you're looking for the variance, correct?
Yeah, the southern property line. I thought I said the southern. I had the
Okay.
southern written down. I must have read
Yeah,
it
the
wrong.
thing, it said southern, but then I thought I heard you say, maybe I was misheard. I heard westerly.
No, that's what she said, Mark.
Wesley was the wetlands.
I think the
Yeah,
wetlands.
that's where the wetlands are. Yeah.
Right.
So,
So the requirement is 40 and you're asking for a 20-foot variance, correct?
Correct.
and based on the site constraints, and I assume the utilities are gonna be brought in as shown on the plan, it's gonna be built accordingly.
Correct.
And so the existing parking lot pretty much already exists, correct?
Yes, it does. It's just, it's not paved.
Right.
It's just gravel right now.
Gravel
Correct.
right now, right?
All right, I'm good. Anybody else?
So they're gonna occupy both buildings, Go Graphic?
Yep, it's the same company. It's gonna be utilized for more office and manufacturing space on the
Okay.
same lot.
And they couldn't combine it into one building?
That's what I was gonna ask, Mark.
That, I'm unsure if that was discussed. I think that it's for, I don't know what's in the existing right now, if that's office space or
Yeah,
manufacturing.
I just don't know how the building would set out and whether or not it's more efficient and, to have a separate building. But I just don't know. But I also see the constraints as the wetland buffer or the wetland encroaches mostly right in the center of the lot. So your setbacks would have to be even greater, and you'd probably be looking for potentially a road setback issue here.
Yeah, we have issues with, obviously, the wetlands and some topographical issues with connecting to the existing building. And the way that Gary and Jim intend on using the building, it makes the most sense to separate the building. This is going to be used for applying vehicle wraps and things like that.
Okay.
So it's not a high intense use, but they need quite a bit of space to do those installations.
Okay.
And I see that, at least what I'm seeing, Bill, from what you're saying, is the location. If they tried to butt it closer to their building, they'd run into the wetlands a little closer than where they are at now.
Correct. They'd run into the wetlands, and the southerly side of the building would be significantly out of the ground.
Right.
So we'd have to step the building down. So between conservation and topography, it would be
It would look
extremely
foolish.
challenging.
You can see that too now. Okay.
Because of the grading, the way the grading
The
is.
grade
Bill.
drops.
Yeah.
Like, it was
Right.
a significant drop there.
Right, there was quite a bit off of Benton Drive.
Yeah.
All right, I'm satisfied, guys. If you,
Is there anybody to speak in favor here beside Alexandra and Bill?
I do have something else to share with you guys as
Yep.
well. McGill, Hose, I'm sorry, and Coupling did offer a letter of recommendation, which is shared on my screen.
Yep. And I think we've all read that. And well, I just want to note that that's the immediate southerly abutter who's going to be most affected by this variance.
Correct.
Anybody else?
I want to introduce that as an exhibit and make that part of of the record along with the plans, the application and the exhibits, Bethany, formally,
Got it.
to make all of those exhibits, copy of the deed, et cetera. And we'll be giving the variance to Whitestone Property Management LLC. they're the owners of the property, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, hearing no further pros, is there anybody here in opposition to this application?
Mark, I don't see anybody in the audience.
Okay, so hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. I think I have enough information. Does everybody feel they have enough information to close the public hearing?
Yes, I think so. I do.
Anybody second that?
Second.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Aye.
Let
Aye.
the record show it was unanimous. And then I guess the next thing is, do we want to vote, and do we have a motion to either approve or deny the variance? And with reasons why.
So I make a motion to approve the variance for a 20 plus or minus foot setback with southerly border as proposed, with the following supporting details of topography for hardships, maximizing the distance from wetlands, which also poses a hardship for location of the structure. They put it's set back far enough, it's not going to obstruct anything, it's not going to create any additional obstructions entering or exiting their work area. And then the supporting documents from McGill Hose, which would be their closest abutters approving it on their side as well, would be the reasons that I would vote to approve this.
Yeah, I would add also that, there's still enough space on their property to get around the building for public safety reasons, that they had to get around behind the building. So there's still an adequate 20-foot buffer or area between the sideline that they could easily get back there if they needed to get to that side of the building. And I do think there is a significant drop in the grade between the north section of the lot and the southerly section of the lot that makes putting one building there very impractical, and it would create quite a hardship, a lot of extra construction that would have to be done and a lot of extra expense. So I believe that, plus the location of the wetlands that are currently on the land that force the building both south and east, are the topographical factors that go into it. And I think it's in keeping with the intent and purposes of the bylaw. And I think it'll serve the public good. It'll keep this company, I believe, in East Long Meadow, and they're currently a good citizen, pay their taxes and provide jobs, and will provide some additional jobs. So I think that's all in the public good, and also provide extra tax revenue. So I think all those things are good for the town. So I would just amend the motion to add those as additional reasons, and then we'll do a vote. I'll do a roll call vote, starting with Charles.
In favor. Aye.
Francis?
Yeah, aye, in favor.
James?
Aye.
Brian?
Favor. Aye.
And I'll make it unanimous. So the variance is granted. We will file the decision hopefully within the next week or so. Bethany, you're going to be around. Nobody's on vacation.
I'll be here.
And there's a 20-day appeal period. I doubt anybody's going to appeal this, but there's a 20-day appeal period. You can build at your risk during that 20-day appeal period. But if somebody shows up and appeals it, and we ever get overturned, you built it at your own risk. So, but once the appeal period expires, then obviously nobody can attack the variance. So I'll try to get it filed as quickly as possible with the town clerk, and I think that's done with the meeting. Do we have any other matters? I want to close before we close the public meeting.
No, that was it.
Appreciate it. I'd like to say thank you to the board.
You guys did a good job with the plans and stuff. Were very detailed, and that
just
was
having grown up in this town, and seeing Jim White, I went to school with them, and to know that they can keep their business, Jim and Gary can keep their business in town and expand. I appreciate the board considering that and making this decision.
Thanks, Bill.
No, they're a good corporate citizen, and if we can help and not violate the law by doing so, by all means. But you did a nice job, both of you, and we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Makes our job easier. So, are there any other matters? We can close the public hearing. Is there any other matters before the board tonight?
No, that was it.
Okay, do we have any motions to adjourn?
I motion.
Second, all in favor, raise your hand.
Aye.
Let the record
Good
show
night,
it's
everyone.
unanimous. I see Jim White joined us, so as well, but we should be all set. So thank you guys for attending. This was quicker than our last couple.
Yes.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks,
good night.
guys.